Alright, welcome to another Warframe video. And before I get into this, I do want to briefly describe the separate builds I have for Vauban. Now, Vauban is a little tricky just because he has so much to mess around with. And this one I would kind of focus it on one, but all these kind of help every single ability, and that's what I'll get into in a second. But the main focus on this one is crowd control. So we see in the fourth one, don't have the greatest stats over here. We go to damage, obviously it's dealt damage. So that's going to be focusing on one specific one, and then we're going to have CC, which is also going to be focusing on one specifically. So if we go over here with CC and compare it to damage real quick, we can see that the range goes from 175 to 100. So that's a bit of an increase, as well as the duration. Strength does go down a bit to 196, but everything else is mostly the same except for range and duration. Well, they're all different, but hear me out. So what this one is going to do is going to have the duration effect added onto it. It's going to have the range effect added onto it. It's also going to have strength, because you kind of want to combine everything when you have Vauban, or that's what I've at least experienced when I have Vauban. So what I'm going to show first is going to be the CC build. CC, if you don't know, stands for crowd control. If we're going to go here, we're going to spawn. Let's just do the max level quickly. Simulate them. We have them down here. Crowd control, boom, they're stuck, right? And if they would get up, we would also use the fourth ability. You could use your other second ability, right there, which is just going to deal a little bit amount of damage. There are Tesla banks in there as well. Why not? I think for level 95, this is doing pretty well. Let's say, it might get up soon. Put that right there. So we can throw another one. Look at that. Wow. Let's add another bad boy in there. Wait for it. Boom. See, now with Vauban, he's really a lazy frame, I guess, is the best way to describe him, just because of his abilities and the way that they can be used together. Now, I showed that build, and the reason I have a separate build, but that focuses on really the same thing overall, is I kind of want to mess with it, and I kind of want you, when you're looking at this, and if you're watching this video, kind of compare the two and see what you like best and what fits the way you play better. Now, the big difference between CC and damage is the range. The range is obviously affected. However, the thing with this is probably going to be for more of the aggressive type. We are going to try it. All right. Now, just for a second, I am going to show too what I have here. This is Bastille, which could repel enemies if they come towards, which they're not, unless they are. No, I didn't repel them, but all of their armor is stripped as well. Alright, this one's about to just be gone. 45, that's good. So it does deal that damage. Now the big thing that I like to kind of compare this with, or pair it up with, is if we use Vortex. Now we're going to use this orb. Damage dealing orb. So now when they're in the circle, they're going over and over and over again. We have this thing right there in the center, so that everything that gets pulled into it is just going to keep getting hit by this no matter what. Now see, I mean, they're already. It was very, very quick. So that's what I'm seeing with the playstyle. It's kind of how it fits in your needs. The range is somewhat effective. I don't know really the circumstances where you're going to want a huge amount of range on this. Again, it depends what you're doing. If you're in survival, let's say survival, and you want every enemy, far away as they are, to come towards you, do that. Do I think you should be using Vauban then? Probably not. Maybe use Nova. If you're looking more into this, those are a pretty good combination. I mean, you have the fourth ability here that is going to get rid of the armor. As you just saw, it's going to get rid of the armor with Bastille. And with this on it, you have a 100% chance to be repelled every 4 seconds. And then you also have Vortex for the duration increase if you have, which is why I have Prime Flow here. That's an example. Again, you can swap this out. Maybe add some more reach. Do this the range that has nothing on it. All right, so go from 100 to 130, or go from the duration 155, put it up to 179. Do whatever you want with this one. Prime Flow is always in there for me, at least. It's always in there as a maybe. Usually, because most of the time, in order to get a huge amount of strength, Blind Rage is a mod that's really needed to get that huge strength up there. but that also comes with a huge decrease in efficiency. So what are you going to do with that? You're either going to leave it, ignore it, and use up a lot of energy for all these abilities, And what happens if you take Prime Flow off here? How much do you have? 225. Now, but still, it's going to take up 140 of that. Now, how quickly are you going to get that energy back? I don't know. So then what do you do in that circumstance? You then say, here, I'm going to add a lot of duration on it, so when I use it, it's going to be worth it. And with this sort of ability, it's going to be killing enemies, it's going to be easier for them to kill, so I'm likely going to get my energy back by the time it's out of its duration. I mean, you get 140 and you pair it up with here, we're going to use 35. You're still under the 225 limit, but when is that time that you have max energy, and when is it when you run out of energy? How often would that be? So you can either swap it out with Prime Flow, go to Streamline, go to there's another one that I probably have or used to have, and you can put this up to 90%. So instead of having 135, you have 110. That's still a lot, but now that's a little bit below half. Now this is 27.5, so instead of having almost to 200, you're just gonna have a little bit below 150. So that is a really good thing, or 140. But that is a thing that you have to look at. This is why it's really difficult building some of these builds. All these mod setups have their own unique thing. And when people comment on a video, which only happened once, but when people comment and they say, well, this isn't good, that isn't good. Yeah, not everything's meant to be great. There is going to be one thing that you have to pick apart, and that is something that you have to look into. So I'm going to leave Prime Flow in here because I think for me it works the best, and for these examples it also does as well, to get a huge amount of energy right away. So we're going to skip all these and we're going to go to something that I think a lot of people miss out on, and that is going to be the first ability. Don't mind the fourth. That's ignore it. Tesla. Now the reason I say this, and this build is very, very fresh. So there's going to be a lot of critiquing in this. A lot of adjustments are going to be needed likely for this build. Now what this build is on is the first ability. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a little tiny drone of a ball that just goes up to them. So what we're going to do first, we're not going to use a Tesla. We're going to use that. Now we're going to use a Tesla. Now you can go up to 4. I believe only 4. Yeah, you can only do 4. And now you see there, all 4 of them are going to be in this little bunch. And then we wait. We'll see an example with that. They're all still. Look at that. And you have the status chance on top of that as well. So they're destroyed. Just refresh. Hopefully not die. Yeah, I'm not shooting them on purpose. I mean, look at all this time you have to shoot them, or even use your other ability. So let's just do that just to kind of show. Try to just dodge this as best as I can. I mean, you just have one orb paired with Teslas. And here's the thing too that I do like about Prime Flow is we have all this to work with. Like if you didn't have Prime Flow and you weren't able to get that energy back very quickly, you wouldn't be able to do all these combinations that you could possibly do with the Tesla bank. I mean, let's just throw that back in. Kill them off here. Now for just using one of these and having them just Tesla, to me that's pretty significant. Because you could just use a Tesla, and then once they're gone, they're going to be following you. Look at that. They're just going to be following you. That is very, very unique and cool to me that I don't think a lot of people use on Vauban. I think they mostly use his second abilities, and they use his fourth. Now, there's another thing I would like to show as well. In this upgrade here, we could see that I did put it on all of them, so duration, range, and strength, they're all affected pretty evenly. Alright, let's just for an example, we're going to put a lot of damage on here, we're going to put duration on here a little bit, just 55% above, and then we also have our health increase for, no, why not? Now we're going to use a combination I like to use a lot. I'm going to use this. I mean, come on. This is why Vauban is very, very useful and why it's so hard to get a build on them. I mean, do you not see how easy that is? That is so ridiculously easy. Now let's just see, let's do it on the build that has the least amount of damage on it. Okay, just to show, we have the least amount of damage, we have, I believe we have the least amount, yeah, we have the least amount of damage on here, or strength I should say. We have the most amount of range though, and we still have the same duration and our health is lowered, but we're not focusing on that, just so it's better on the eye. Invincibility is on. So instead, let's spawn in 20, if I can find them. the max amount, right? See how many we can get to come towards us. And we're gonna use Bastille again just because it strips that armor. That's what's really key about that. Go over here, just, you know what, let's do it in the middle here. See if we can get their attention. See if they can all come over here so we can kind of get a group going on and see what they could do. Okay, 4. Alright, look at that. Right. Tesla, Tesla, Tesla. One in the middle. Put that over there. Boom. Boom. Now let's just watch. We're gonna wait. The ratios is not huge on this, remember. Oh, look, those two are gone. The Teslas just eat up. Look at that. Look at that. They're all gone. All 20 gone. Almost instantly. Almost instantly. And I will tell you a huge factor might be, wow, look, you know, these must be doing tons of amount of damage. It's the Teslas. It's the Teslas. And just to prove it one more time, I'm going to do it one more time. We're going to use Bastille. And I'm not going to use anything else but Teslas. They're not even in the Bastille. controls one of them like I showed in the beginning, but then the huge amount of damage that he can deal at the end is insane. It is really insane, pairing everything up with each other and seeing the outcome of all of them working together to then deal that amount of damage, and that quickly as well. It is pretty good and will be pretty useful when you're facing high level enemies. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.